Welcome to New York's number 2 sports show. The New York Rangers defeat the Anaheim Ducks 2-1 at Madison Square Garden. So uh, they are able to bounce back from that poor showing against the Florida Panthers. Look, beating the Ducks is nothing to write home about, but at the end of the day, they get the job done. Jonathan Quick was the player of this game, makes 32 saves, really a lot of good ones. This was a scoreless game up until the 4:13 mark of the third period. So, and it was interesting. It was kind of a tale of two periods where the Rangers outshot the Ducks 18-7 in the first. Then the Ducks outshot the Rangers 15-8 in the second. But, Rangers kept on chipping away, and ultimately they were able to score goals actually by some unexpected sources in some ways. Ryan Lindgren especially scoring his first goal of the season. And then Will Cuylle. It was interesting. Will Cuylle, there was a disallowed goal offside was called, and then Cuylle scored, and it was interesting. Even that one, there was a question of whether it might have been kicked in. It wasn't, but yeah, the Rangers get a 2-1 win. And let's first discuss a couple of roster transactional things. And we really, obviously, I did the episode on Alexis Lafreniere signing his 7-year contract extension, which is really good news. And then at the end of the Panther episode, discussing how Matt Rempe was sent down. And sure enough, I brought up Jake Leschyshyn as a potential call-up, and that is what happened. So Leschyshyn, he is currently the Rangers' 13th forward. He was a healthy scratch, and hopefully it stays that way up until the point of Jimmy Vesey returning. But defensively, they make a switch, and it's Victor Mancini out, Zach Jones in. So I think that's what you're going to be seeing for better or worse for a while. So on the one thing, and also I should say, Chad Ruhwedel sent down to Hartford. So he did clear waivers. I figured that would probably happen, and he is sent down. So the good news there is that Mancini is getting an absolute look, an opportunity. But in terms of the healthy scratch game, it's going to be between Jones and Mancini, which I kind of wish that it was a little bit more open than just that, but chances are that's what it's going to be. And so Jones, who was healthy scratch for, I think 3 straight games, was back in there and paired up with Braden Schneider. They kept Miller with Fox, and they had Lindgren with Trouba. So kind of interesting because Lindgren and Trouba, it's not a pair that you would think would be overly successful in the way of getting the puck out of the zone and moving the puck down ice. But funny enough, Lindgren scores the goal. Actually had a pretty good game. That is a duo that is used to playing together on the penalty kill. Obviously, look, they've been teammates, Lindgren and Trouba, for a long time. But I don't remember many instances where they were defensive partners. Maybe a little bit, like a while ago. But even then, I can't even tangibly say how long that was for. Not much. And it's not a defensive pair that I would think would be successful. If it were me in that scenario, I would probably prefer, like, if you want to stick with Miller Fox, which I'm fine with. That's been a mostly good pair. The Keandre Miller turnover is like that continues. That's never going away. Like, Miller is frustrating. Like, that's the way I'll put it. Like, he is someone that you do want Keandre Miller, like, getting bigger minutes than other players on this team. But that said, like, again, it's those turnovers. It's been a problem like his whole career. But anyway, I think that I would rather it be Lindgren with Schneider and Jones with Trouba. I understand that Jones Trouba, there is risk there, but in terms of their styles, Trouba can be more stay-at-home, Jones can jump up ice. I think it's makes a little more sense. And also, Jones Schneider hasn't necessarily been the greatest pair in the past, but both of them a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned, and so maybe that pair won't be as much of a disaster as it had been in previous seasons. But again, I like the fact that they're trying new things. If nothing else, it's not worth nitpicking because I like that they're trying different combinations. Credit there. Even if it doesn't work, at least they gave it a shot. Whereas with the forwards, that Heat line has been really fucking good. Really, really good. And they score another goal in this game. That has been the biggest bright spot for me on the season is Cooley Heedle Kako. There's other places to go around in terms of praise being given, but it's that one. And again, that Zibanejad line is just lacking. It is. And so, in terms of ice time, the Panarin line got the most, and then I guess it was kind of close between Zibanejad and Heedle, which I guess is somewhat of a win. But really, the Mika line should be getting the third most, like in terms of even strength minutes. That's a manager line. That should be number 3. It really should be. It's, whatever. Like, there's other games where it's worth going more crazy about, but yeah, there's a manager thing. I think it's kind of taking on a life of its own. I don't think I'm alone in feeling like, what am I watching exactly? He has gotten off to slow starts in seasons before. Like, that has been a thing. There is streakiness to his game. So again, like, it is possible that he will turn it around at some point. But yeah, I just think that this is not something that's been great. And the ironic thing is the one goal the Ducks scored was a 4-on-4 goal where they put on Zibanejad and Kreider. Now, on the one hand, I do like them as a PK duo. I've said that. It is effective. But, like, Mika kind of had a weak stick check, and, and eventually it leads to a goal. I don't know. Whatever. I'll drop it, but the good news is the Heedle line. That's been really good. And the Panarin point streak extends itself. So I had said last episode that, Panarin's point streak was over. No. The next day, the NHL went back and they gave him an assist on that Lafreniere goal, which actually was the right call. Like, and I don't know if I really described it in the last episode, but it actually, yes. Would they have necessarily, like, if the point streak was on the line, would they have maybe the next day made the switch? I don't know, but I actually don't think it was complete bullshit. So Panarin gets an assist in this game. So now he is at a, 8-game point streak? What are the Rangers? 6-1-1? I believe they're 6-1-1. So, 8-game point streak for Artemi Panarin. And he looked really good. That's the thing. Like, that line was looking good, but Panarin specifically, not that people are doing this, but you can't group him in that Zibanejad category. Now, when we talk postseason, that's a completely different conversation. Totally different. But in the regular season, Panarin gets it done. So, trying to think of other thoughts. Really, again, Rempe getting sent down makes sense. Ruedel getting sent down makes sense. And they're just trying to, and again, the defensive pairs, they're just trying to figure it out. But Jonathan Quick, 32 saves, really love what he's doing. I mean, what a story, Jonathan Quick. Been in the league for a long, long time. He's now a backup after some rough years in LA. Like, his career was kind of teetering. And now, he grew up a Ranger fan. He's a forever King legend. That's the thing. Like, he's an LA King, Jonathan Quick, through and through. But you don't feel that bad when he's in there. I mean, this has got to be one of the better goalie tandems in the league. And Quick doesn't really get much talk because, Igor is Igor. But Quick really has been very good. And honestly, like, he was a huge reason why they won. The Ducks came to play. This Duck team, it's not a playoff team. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But slowly, like, they're getting out of the doldrums a little bit. They're not that bad. But Lucas Dostal was pretty good for the Ducks as well. So pretty good goalie matchup in this one where maybe it wasn't expected. So getting into it, again, like, there's not a whole lot that I'm going to provide here detail-wise as far as the game for many reasons. A, it just wasn't one of those games, and B, Yankees kind of taking on a little bit more of an importance with their World Series matchup with the Dodgers. But Mason McTavish at 7:05 hooks Ryan Lindgren. And so the Rangers get a power play, the only power play of the game they would have, and they didn't score on it. And, really, I hope that at some point Lafreniere gets put in the number 1 unit. He just deserves it. And I really think that it'll improve. I think it'll make the power play better. But again, I don't think that's going to happen yet. So Ducks kill it off. And the Rangers really had chance after chance. Philip Hedl had tons of opportunities to score goals in this game, and didn't do so. Breakaways and odd man rushes, but couldn't get it in. Um, so it remained scoreless after one. And then in the second period, there was a moment, really big hit by, I believe, Radko Gudas on Sam Carrick. Sam Carrick's a former Anaheim Duck, was actually on the Ducks for quite some time. And he would leave the game, but he would come back. So he's all right. But yeah, there was a big hit there. Adam Edstrom was involved physically as well, like on that shift. So some fisticuffs there a little bit. And there was one penalty in the period. K'Andre Miller hooks Troy Terry at 14:51, which the Rangers kill off. So the Ducks were really the better team in the second period. As well as the Rangers played in the first, the Ducks were really buzzing in the second period. But we go to the third period, and that's where the Rangers get the job done. And at 4:13, Ryan Lindgren scores his first goal of the season from Lafreniere and Panarin. So what happens? A good job by that Panarin line. Panarin is behind the net. He tries to pass it to Lafreniere, who was somewhat open in front. It goes off of Lafreniere's stick barely, and Lindgren right behind him comes in and fires one past Dostal. So that was, good to see, because again, Ryan Lindgren is not much of a goal scorer, as we know, but he contributes there and makes it 1-0 Rangers. Then, not too far after that, but a little bit after that, is where you think that Will Cuylle scores a goal, but it's correctly reviewed and called offside. So no goal for Cuylle. The score remains 1-0. However, Cuylle would soon be rewarded for an actual goal. At 11:53, he scores his second goal of the season from Kakko and Hedl. A great shift by the Hedl line. Kakko with some really good passes on that shift, including one in front to Cuylle. It wasn't pretty. I'm not even sure if it necessarily went off his stick. It might have just been off the skate, but it wasn't like a kicking motion. And it's a goal for Will Cuylle to make it 2-0. Really, really good stuff from that line in terms of what they're doing, in terms of not allowing much from other teams and really dominating that possession time. It's really, really good to see. But after that goal, Mason McTavish and Adam Edstrom go off for matching minors at 12:16. So what happened was Edstrom boards Alex Killorn, and then McTavish comes in and roughs Edstrom. So not great that it's 4-on-4. Look, when you're leading, you don't really want the 4-on-4. More ice, more available ice, more offensive opportunity. And Anaheim does score their one goal of the game. It's Olin Zellweger scoring his first goal of the season from Carlson and Terry. So again, it was a play that, Mika a little bit soft in the neutral zone with a little weak stick check, tap, whatever it was. And it was a nice play by Zellweger to go in and score. And, he's a defenseman too. So I think there's a lot of promise for him. I think he was a second-round pick not too long ago. So, yeah, that made it 2-1. But the Rangers were able, it wasn't pretty down the stretch, but they're able to hold them off. Quick made some good saves. There was a couple of empty net opportunities to the Rangers. Didn't score, but they win the game by a final of 2-1. So on the one hand, would you have liked to have beaten Anaheim more soundly? Yes. But you know what? Just the fact they did win the game, give them some credit, because, that's like what good teams do, as far as just saying it wasn't really, I didn't think it was pretty. Even though it was not as if they were fairly sound defensively. I mean, Quick had to make some good saves, but the structure was decent. So it wasn't like it was a sloppy played game, but it was a little bit too close for comfort. But they found the way. And that's what you're looking for, especially after that Panther loss. Does it change how I feel about the Panther game? No, it doesn't. Not at all. That's a different conversation, but they are able to get the win and improve to 6-1-1. And so now there will be a showdown against the Washington Capitals on Tuesday night. And Washington's had a good season, but they are coming off of a 3-0 loss to the Lightning. And these are two of, to this point, the better teams in the Metropolitan Division. Rangers 6-1-1, Capitals 5-2, and it is a playoff rematch from last season in the first round where the Rangers swept the Capitals. So a little bit of an interesting game. I mean, look, I don't think that the Capitals are necessarily an upper echelon team, but hey, they made the playoffs last year. They're off to a good start now. Like, they could certainly be one of the top 4 clubs in the Metropolitan Division. It's not out of this world that could happen. So Rangers go right back on the road to take on the Caps. Just a one game situation on the road. They'll head back home for a game, I believe, home against the Senators on Friday. So again, Rangers, they get it done. They win 2-1. Jonathan Quick steps up in relief of Igor Shesterkin, makes 32 saves in the win. Get goals by Ryan Lindgren and Will Cuylle, and they improve to 6-1-1. And now they will head to Washington to take on the Capitals.